Hello, I hope you're doing well. Welcome back to more CSGO news. I hope you guys all enjoy. As always, all of today's stories will be timestamped down below. Let's hop into our first one, which is already bringing many flashbacks for fans out there of the OpTic India squad. If you guys don't know the Forsaken story, well then you have not been a part of the CSGO scene throughout the entire 2018 season, and now in 2019 it begins, well, in a pretty bad way for the Indian scene. Actually talking about Team SRA, a pretty prominent and well-known Indian team, guys, I would say on the rise. SRA actually stands for Slaughter Rage Army, so a pretty cool name. Actually, one of their members, though, known as Bubon Pandey, I probably mispronounced that or misspoke that, but still, his in-game name, the Guru, has now been admittedly caught cheating, or at least admitting to cheats, and we'll see what ESL does rule on this guy. It's actually a pretty breaking story a couple days ago, as the entire team, it does seem, actually kind of cornered this guy and tried to get him ousted for allegedly using these cheats, as well as intention to use these cheats on LAN. Now, why it's, of course, so ironic, him being Indian, we already know the Forsaken story. Even more so ironic, though, because this SRA team with the Guru, this guy who has cheated in the past and was intending to cheat on LAN in the future as well, this same roster actually competed for the qualifier for Extremes LAN Zowie the same time OpTic did, and OpTic India with Forsaken, one of the teams they had to beat to actually qualify for Extremes LAN Zowie, where Forsaken was caught on live on stage actually cheating. One of the teams they did beat to get there was SRA, Slaughter Rage Army, who now have a cheater. And we'll never know, right, at that qualifier if Forsaken was cheating for OpTic India, because they convincingly beat a lot of the teams there, including SRA with the Guru. Who knew if the Guru was cheating there as well? Because if he was, he wasn't doing so too well, because they got rolled by OpTic India. But it would have been funny, right? Kind of ironic enough. Only something you really see in non-prime matchmaking, or maybe a few times throughout your matchmaking career, where your team has a cheater, all of a sudden a team member on the other team actually disconnects, they reconnect with cheats, all of a sudden it's a cheater versus cheater who can actually cheat the best to actually win. It'd be funny enough if actually both Forsaken and Guru were found to be cheating at the qualifier, but none of that information will ever come out. We'll never know if they were. But alongside that, we actually do have confirmations, guys. Apparently, thanks to a Facebook post, it was actually the entire SRI team, or at least part of the members there, confronting this guy, that being the Guru, at his home, because he threatened two things. The first of which, not a joke, he did threaten to actually commit suicide if this information did come out. The information has come out, and reportedly, at least still, he has not done that. Luckily enough, obviously not a joke going forward, and certainly something that's affecting his life enough where he actually threatened to do so. Alongside that, though, he also threatened to actually VAC ban a Steam account of Antidote. Yes, Antidote, the former OpTic India member Antidote, another tie to the Forsaken scene, the OpTic India scene. It's crazy the amount of times that this story actually has. It shows you maybe how small the Indian pro scene is with how many connections, because apparently the Guru, now currently, of course, we've now found him to be a cheater. He actually had the primary email for the Steam ID that Antidote uses. Why? Who knows? He did threaten, though, to actually VAC ban that account. Eventually, the players apparently did get that email back, and Antidote will not be VAC banned, and it does seem the Guru is now facing whatever ESL's punishment should be for this. Many logs have also been released. Many messages have actually confirmed him bragging about him cheating, although no, in my opinion, no substantial, no confirming evidence to actually have this guy, besides him through a couple messages, admitting that he does cheat. We'll see what ESL rules on this situation, because this situation was crazy. I mean, just a slight recap, guys. SRA, their member Guru, has now admitted to cheating. We'll see if he actually gets punished for that. His ties, though, this guy has the primary email for a Steam account that Antidote uses, formerly of OpTic India, and OpTic India with Forsaken was a team that actually beat SRA at the qualifier for Extremes LAN Zowie, where their cheater Forsaken was eventually caught in the most notorious cheating instance in CSGO histories. The ties of the story is absolutely insane. Thanks to Karan, my friend, for also confirming it was actually Antidote from OpTic India. We'll see what happens here, guys. The India scene, though, continuing embarrassment for these guys. It does seem that quite a few pros over there enjoy cheating, and they enjoy getting caught. And also on top of that, guys, of course, in the title, the brand new major format changes here just a few weeks before our major, and these are some big changes, but also some very good changes. If you guys are confident in your teams, this should pretty much solidify at least a few more of the better teams to make it through. So some big changes. First of all, throughout group stage, a brand new seeding system. If you guys did watch IEM Chicago, they did a very similar thing over there, where teams actually vote for other teams to be ranked. So pretty much a team or individual players are given a ranking system. So let's say a player can actually rank Astralis number 1, they can rank Liquid as number 2. It pretty much a player voted system, ranking these teams 1 through 16, giving them their seeds, and also it also nullifies the anomalies, right? So let's say Jordan Nothing Gilbert has a very angry day, he ranks Astralis Astralis number 16, where clearly they should be number 1, his vote is actually nullified. Each team has a selected predicted range of where they should be voted into, and if a team votes a team outside of that range, their vote is nullified, it's thrown out. So by the end of the day, guys, these should be pretty close to world rankings, but it does allow for a few changes here and there. Either team, though, by the end of the day, number 1 through 16 should be pretty fair rankings because it's voted by the players and by the teams. Alongside that, though, some large changes for the Swiss system. Many of you guys know it was beforehand 4 best of 1s, elimination matchups were best of 3s, so many teams could slip through just by winning a lot of best of 1s, and you only play teams with your same record. So if you lose a game, you play other teams who have also lost a game, so on and so forth, and allowed for some pretty bad matchups, right? I can't really name any precedents, but a lot of, top ranking teams were also playing other top ranking teams who had also lost their opening matchups. It leads to a lot of big teams like a Mouse Sports eventually being eliminated and unfairly not making the next major. So this actually pretty much defeats that system, a brand new ELO system. So pretty much teams will be given a corresponding ELO, and that ELO will be adjusted based off the wins and the losses they actually undergo, and it should make for better matchups, so on and so forth after that first round. Now, how this will be perfected, I have no clue, right? Let's say, because it's all so tentative, it's also subjective, because let's say Liquid loses to Cloud9, their opening matchup in a best of 1, but Astralis loses to a Mouse... I didn't mean to say that. Astralis loses to FaZe, or a top-ranking team. How does that affect things? We do not know. We can only trust, though, this ELO system should make for better matchups after the first round. And very lastly, by far and away, the most important update, guys. Like I said previously, it used to be 4 best of 1s and 1 best of 3. It is now 3 best of 1s, and the 4th and 5th round will be best of 3. So only a slim 2 teams or so can actually make it through, only winning best of 1s. After that, guys, rounds 4 and 5 will now all be best of 3s, and that allows for many teams out there to have to compete for those spots, and the better teams should be going through. I love this change. It's a great change. It's pretty close to the major to make this kind of change, but in the end, if you're confident in your teams, this is a great change for the future of all majors, and it should allow for the better teams to go through and the better teams to at least stay in the major if we keep that qualifying format for the future. And in some closing stories for CSGO news, we actually, of course, had North's post yesterday and the stinking flock of freaks kind of comments coming in. I don't know where you guys think of this kind of stuff. It actually drew out some responses from many pro players out there, Taco being one of them, actually openly saying it was because of these community threats that he actually, one of the many reasons he had left SK Gaming. So pretty shocking to see, just based on what people can say to you, the things that these pro players have reacted by. And alongside that, though, one of the weirdest CSGO stories I have ever read from a pro player. I will link this thread down below. I really encourage you guys to look it through. Some tweets from Get Right coming out about a story he experienced early on in his career, back when he was living with his parents. And it was a weird story. I'll give you guys a TLDR, but again, I encourage you guys to read it yourselves. Pretty much, he was about to move out of his parents' house, and around that time, he actually received calls around the same time every single day. It was his mom who would answer the phone. She would talk to this person for a prolonged period of time, not even talking about Counter-Strike. It was actually eventually down the road, Get Right asking what that call was about. It was a frustrated fan calling their house every single day and eventually asking his mom why she still picked up the phone. She said because she was worried that if she did not pick up the phone and talk to this guy, something bad would have happened. But either way, it gives you two sides of the story, right? First of all, his mom's a sweetheart. Bless her soul for answering the phone every single day. Second of all, the creepy side, or not necessarily, I hope he's not watching, but the immense side that fans will go to express their frustration. It was actually clarified as well. This fan was calling, allegedly according to his mom as well, to express his frustration of how he was playing. So it's pretty crazy that someone out there can find your phone and find your parents' home and give you a call based off how you play in a video game. But some crazy stories out there, I'm sure, are still going to happen. As I said yesterday, guys, let's try and avoid the negative comments. If you're going to have any negative comments, leave them here in the comment section. Don't react to pro players who lost games. Very lastly in CSGO news, announced actually late last week. I didn't really cover it because it was a kind of anticlimactic story, and you guys maybe think so too. Unicorns of Love have entered the CSGO scene, which is great exposure for the scene, and but they do so, they stick to their own nationality. They signed Team Euronics because Unicorns of Love is actually a German organization. Of course, Euronics actually a German roster. It does kind of stink to see. There are many European Mountain Dew League teams that you guys can name that deserve to be signed. Unicorns of Love, though, keep it close to home, and they sign that Euronics roster. Congrats to them. Really congrats to them. Great exposure for that roster. But there are many other teams out there that likely deserve to be signed. But again, again, we'll see what they do in the future. And again, it's great exposure for this scene to have a team like that from League of Legends and other esports coming to CSGO. But as always, I hope you guys all enjoy it. My name is Jake. Thank you all for the great comments on yesterday's episode. If you want to leave a comment down below today, well, feel free to. I'll see you back here tomorrow. And until then, bye.